Hey, Colab Coach here yet again. If you don't know who I am a relationship coach. I focus on relationships, but not only intimate relationships, relationships with your friends, families, neighbors, co-workers, and the most important relationship of all, with yourself. What I'd like to do is at least once a week have a special guest to talk about different situations, issues, things that they have overcome, or things that they're currently going on in their current relationships, or have been through in their past relationships that they want to share and talk about. So today I have the lovely Maxine, Dr. Maxine,
Thank you.
here, and we're going to talk about conflicts within a relationship. So, just so you know, coaching is just a dialogue between two people and basically talking about different situations and how we can basically help take ourselves to the next level. So, as far as conflicts in relationships, Dr. Maxine,
hmm
so if you could, how have you dealt with conflicts in relationships? What were some things that you have done to help better yourself to resolve those conflicts? And what are some things that you could share with others?
Sure. So I think looking back, like in relationships, whether it's with a significant other,
Mm-hmm.
for me, or even relationships with my sisters, with friends, family members, most of the time dealing with conflicts, I've been the person to always want to communicate and
Mm-hmm.
make sure that my voice is heard. So making sure that maybe how I felt, discussing how I felt, communicating clearly what I didn't like about whatever maybe argument that we might have had, and how we can also solve that problem. I think communication is key.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, in all types of conflict, it's been more so just making sure that my point is getting across, and also trying to hear from the other person, whether it's my husband, my sisters, friends, what I might have done, and trying to figure out how we can resolve the problem. Yeah.
Awesome. So, has there been a situation where you've communicated basically how you felt in that conflict, and it wasn't really reciprocated the way that you would like?
Yes. Yeah, there's definitely been situations where sometimes it can be very difficult for the other person to try to understand where you're coming from,
Mm-hmm.
and it can be very frustrating in those situations. And for me, we still had to make sure to, we still had to just continue to talk until, so I try to give examples, maybe if they are not understanding where I'm coming from, examples to try to, I guess, with an analogy so that they could try to understand where I'm coming from, and trying to just break it down. And I think one thing is also, in the heat of a conflict or heat of an argument, sometimes that's not the best time to discuss resolutions, trying to wait till everybody, both parties, kind of calms down and
Mm-hmm.
cools down. And then
Mm-hmm.
when everyone is calm, that's when everyone may be open minded to try to hear what each one has to say.
Right, right. So you said something really powerful, communication,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you're dealing with conflicts. So when you do come with conflict and you do feel like the resolution was successful,
Mm-hmm.
but what if that same has there ever been a situation
Mm-hmm.
that the same conflict has kept coming up over and over
Over and
again?
over. Mm-hmm.
And if it has happened, what did you do in those situations?
Yeah. So yeah, there has been a time in the past where um, sometimes I think when it comes specifically,
Mm-hmm.
um, like even in my relationship, just with my husband, that maybe if we're discussing a certain topic, and then we've come to an agreement, and then maybe it may come back again.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so just trying to make sure that, like if I felt wronged, or if he felt wrong, to like really make sure that we forgive, and not bring it up, the
Mm-hmm.
topic again. And if it's something that's recurring, trying to realize why is it recurring, and trying to figure out what can we do to, make this conflict not come back again, and making sure that both parties were clear on what was going on. So I think for us, that's been, one important thing. And just sometimes it might not happen right then and there, but like several days later, when you think about it, then I'll start to realize, oh, okay, now I understand his perspective,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to make an effort to make sure that I might not bring up the issue again, or making sure that I've learned from that
Mm-hmm.
experience.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So since you are married, you've
Mm-hmm.
disclaimer, she's been married for over a year, which is a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, do you think, I've had a couple conversations with a couple of married couples as well. Do you think it's healthy to have conflicts within like a relationship and then within a marriage, or do you feel like as we see in social media, um, we think that everybody's always having the perfect life,
Mm-hmm.
everybody's having a really good relationship, marriage. Is it more healthy to have more conflicts within a relationship, or is it healthy to maybe have one big argument and
Mm-hmm.
then get over that? But what's your take on that?
So personally, I think no matter what, because we're human beings, there will always be disagreements.
Mm-hmm.
But it's how we handle the conflict.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in a relationship where if you're having so much conflict each and every time, I don't think that in itself is healthy.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's no perfect relationship that they will, that there's no conflict or there's no disagreement. So I think it's more so, if there is a disagreement or conflict, what is the basis of that?
Mm-hmm.
Trying to find the root of that conflict and trying to really deal with that in a mature manner by communicating effectively, and also really trying on both parties to solve the problem. Um, so I would say I think it all depends also on people's relationships. Some people may argue over little
Mm-hmm.
things, and some people may just kind of not say anything, and then they'll have it boil up to one point and explode. So I don't think that also is
Yeah.
effective. I think that's why every day in your relationship you have to just reassess and try to make sure you communicate, because you don't want everything to boil up and explode.
Right.
But then there's some things that you just realize it's not a big deal, and you just got to let it go and not make a big deal out of it. So I think it's more so how we resolve our problems and how we deal with it. Of course, you don't want to air everything out on social media,
That's true.
and that's why sometimes there's a perception that people's relationships are perfect on social media, because no one actually is going to air their dirty laundry on
Mm-hmm.
social media. But real relationships, you will have conflicts, you will have problems, but it's just trying to resolve it in a mature manner, and just trying to come to that peaceful middle where you want your relationship to grow, so you will make sure you do everything you can to resolve that.
Right, right. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So my last final question to you would be, what are some of your go-tos? Like whenever you're having a conflict, let's say with your husband or your family or
Mm-hmm.
friends,
Mm-hmm.
what are some go-to things that you like to rely on to help with those conflict resolutions
Mm-hmm.
and things to help make the situation not as tense or pressured as
Mm-hmm.
it was before?
So most of the time in my case, I try to, when I realize that I'm starting to get maybe more upset, frustrated, or aggravated, I try to kind of, turn it down, sit back, and try to let the person talk and communicate their perspective, and
Mm-hmm.
always reassure them that I'm listening and I understand their perspective, but then also making sure that I'm also heard.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing is also prayer. I think sometimes, depending on how serious the conflict can be, sometimes just taking time out to set aside and just praying, and just for me asking God just to give me more patience or give me more understanding of the situation and how to resolve the situation
Mm-hmm.
better. And sometimes I think writing, not necessarily the conflict, but more so your feelings about whatever you were arguing about or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and just
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure out the root of the problem, trying not always to point the finger, but trying to see what I could have done to contribute to the conflict and what I can do to, resolve the conflict.
Mm. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this has been perfect. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you
And
for having me.
it's easy for us to say like, okay, yeah, we're in a relationship, yeah, we're happy, but then when we have those arguments, when we have those tense situations,
Mm-hmm.
that will make or break a relationship. So it's always important to have those conflict resolution strategies in your life, so that way If you're able to resolve it,
Mm-hmm.
you're able to grow as a couple. And but if you feel like it's too much for you to handle, you'll be able to step away from it. But
Mm-hmm.
you'll understand the goods and bads from either the sides if you know who you are and what your worth is,
Mm-hmm.
especially in a relationship. So,
Mm-hmm.
hey, as I said, I'm the collab coach. I focus on relationships, but now we intimate relationships with your friends, families, neighbors, co-workers, and the most important relationship of all, with yourself. Um, the month of January is almost over, but the month is not over yet. As I've been saying for the past month, having a special five. I'm trying to get five new clients for the month and for the year. Trying to, introduce people to what coaching is, and also seeing if I can help them as far as coaching. And with that being said, 50% off of all my coaching packages. Message me if you want more information. If you feel like this is something that has been valuable to you and you've watched this and you feel like it's impacted your life and you need more guidance, message me as well. Share this with anyone you know. And don't forget to comment if you want to comment as well. So until next time. And finally, if you do want to join me at least once a week as well, just let me know. I'm willing and able to have as much guests each week to share their point of views, issues, thoughts, and ideas about relationships. So until next time, have a wonderful week. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.